Hey guys, I'm going to be talking about a few things today, and I'll upload them at different times. Now, guys, I would say I'm giving my thoughts and my opinions only on this channel. This is not anything that I'm saying that comes from the Bible, or I'm not saying this is a word from the Lord. I'm not saying that I'm giving my thoughts and my opinion on certain things. And I have a video that I'm going to upload. I haven't uploaded it yet, but it is done. And it's called The Rise of Jezebel. And it talks about different things. And it talks about the spirit and its agenda, okay? And how it's surfacing and setting the platforms for a lot of things that's going to take place down the line through a lot of things that women are doing. And in the eyes of most natural women, or women in the natural, they will look at things and say, hey, we're trying to get rights, we're trying to get equality, all this stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But in some ways, no, we're not exactly equal to men. Now, as far as being given job opportunities and things of that nature, if a woman is educated and she can do certain things, why not? Why should she be paid less and not be promoted, if especially if she's just as capable as her male colleagues? We do know there's a glass ceiling. We know that there's sexism. We know there's discrimination. And in that aspect, yes. Okay. But to say women are just as strong as men, no, we are not. We are not just as strong as they are. Okay. Now, there are some women, based on their makeup, they may have a little more testosterone in their systems, and they can probably, be just as strong as a man. But you're not stronger than a guy. We're normally not. We're built different, all that stuff. And unless you are taking some extra supplements and putting some things in your system, we know hands down that women are not stronger than men. Okay? Now, what I'm going to talk about is my issue sometimes with feminists and feminism, because I don't like the fact that they can jump back into using feminine wiles to get what they want, while at the same time trying to be, pushing a different narrative over equal and all this. But then when they do wrong, they're not being held accountable. If a woman does something wrong, then you find the same feminists or these individuals are coming forward, and even in the judicial system, oh, she's a woman, she's going to be given a different type, her sentence or the way the law comes down on this woman will be most times different than how it's going to be for a man who does the same thing. If a male teacher sexually assaults or has an inappropriate relationship with a student, they're going to throw the book at that man. But if a woman does it, I notice there is like a slap on the wrist. It's so different. And she can go on with all her excuses as to why she did it. Now, most people don't approve of it, no matter what anybody says, male or female. But the way the law works, that woman is going to get away with stuff. They'll believe a woman was raped all day, but they wouldn't believe a man has been raped if it happens. That's why a lot of rape goes unreported. And they would not believe a man has been raped by a woman. Well, how does that happen? A man is stronger than a woman. As I told you, there's some women who are strong. Okay? They have more testosterone. A woman who, let's say she works... this is an assumption I'm making. Let's say she works on a farm. She's used to lifting bales of hay and things of that nature. Or a woman who is out working on construction sites. After a while, she's going to be pretty strong. Maybe not stronger than a guy, but she's going to be strong. Okay? Because the same way like she's developing strength working at a construction site with the guys, the man who already has a certain amount of testosterone have that natural strength that's probably stronger than a female. His is also building because they're continually working, right? But she may be stronger than your average female if she meets your average guy who's not in construction or something like that. And sometimes if a man is drunk, it's easy, right? Anybody who's drunk, a lot of times they can't fight back. So there can be different things. A man can be drugged and taken advantage of too. But if he says that, they're not going to believe him. One thing that bothers me about women as a woman is the double standards. Are the double standards. We want equality, but not when it comes to being accountable. We want accountability, but not when we break the law. We want to be accountable, but not you. We can tell lies. Women can accuse a man of doing something. He goes to jail, he does time, and then they find out that she lied, and nothing happens to these women. Or if anything happens, she is definitely not going to go to jail for the equal amount of time that man had to spend in jail. But that's okay in those situations. These women will be okay with that. Remember, I'm a woman. They lie and cry. I tell you what, this is something that I tell my daughter right now, okay? You can't be wrong and strong. You can't be using your tears when you're corrected. Now, I think sometimes with my daughter, she ends up crying when I chastise her, because when I chastise her, if I have to raise my voice, it hurts her feelings. I'm not, I speak very strict. I mean, my voice is strict. I am not playing. My words are very crisp, and I let her know this is what you've done. And so I think because she don't hear a lot of yelling, and I don't speak, I don't really have to talk to them a lot that way. So when she hears it, it hurts her feelings and she starts to cry. And so, but what I have to tell her in correcting her is, listen, you have to do what's right. You can't be a person that you've been spoken to in a gentle voice numerous times, given plenty of opportunity to stop doing this thing or not to do it, and then you do it, and then now I have to speak to you in a very stern manner, and now you're crying uncontrollably. And I mean, she's just, the tears are just flowing. And my daughter is like, when she's a person that when she starts to cry, I mean, she's not going, she's not like that. But when the tears flow, it takes her, she be doing that for a good hot forever. Like, dude, this happened 30 minutes ago. Why are you still, I hear her silently. But it's all because her feelings are hurt, right? She doesn't get yelled at. She doesn't get chastised a lot. But one of the things I talk to her about, and I get on her about that, is you're not going to be able to go through life like that, okay? You can't do things, and then when you're corrected, you putting on the waterworks. Okay, you're a little girl now, but when you get older, it's not going to work. You need to take responsibility. If you feel like you want to cry, you try to hold it. You can go cry in the bathroom, whatever you need to do. But you don't get all day now. After that, you're playing the victim, and everybody has to come back to you and explain why they had to correct you. And that is something that I see women will do. In one aspect, they're saying, I'm strong and I'm this and I'm that. But in another aspect, they are turn on the waterworks. You can't be both. You cannot do both. You cannot use your tears, some women do, to weaponize it, to distract people, to put a spin on what's happened. There are women who do wicked things to men, and then they go and cry, and people automatically believe them. Why? Because what she wants to do in the midst of saying, I am strong and I'm all this, she wants to remind people that he's a man. And being a man means he's stronger. Being a man, okay, the very thing that they're going against when they want to play victim, being a man, remember he's stronger. Remember he's a man. Remember I'm frail. Remember I'm fragile. Remember I'm vulnerable. And they start to cry. And there are women who cries, and they are simply tears of wickedness. Now, as women, we can sniff it out. And one of the things we have to be careful of as women is that just because a woman says that certain things happen to her, you still have to use discernment. You should not just you want to believe your victims, right? Because then if people come forward and they need help, and we're always troubleshooting them and not believing them, they wouldn't want to. So you could assume, okay, this could have possibly happened for real, get them the help that they need, but you need to pay attention. You shouldn't be rushing and making these rash decisions and just running with the crowd because someone says something, or if you're looking at something. Sometimes women who have experienced certain things, just because somebody else said they experienced it too, they're automatically going to put up the solidarity and they're going to believe the person no matter what, because it's something that they have gone through. And women, this is exactly the reason why men turn around and say, no, women cannot make sound decisions, because what they do is they get emotional. They see, oh, we're the same. Oh, I went through that too. And they turn off the discernment, and they willfully say, I don't want to really see the situation. I'm just going to believe her. I'm going to believe them because I went through that too. Now, would you want someone like that to be the president of the United States or the prime minister of your country? A woman that thinks that way? Would you want somebody who needs to make major decisions in your life be that way, where they just automatically just, oh, it happened to me, and they don't think, they don't want to see what's going on. They want to ignore the facts. They want to ignore all the possibilities of everything else, because no, this is a man and I went through it, and the person I went through did this to me. So because the person that did this to me did it to me, he must be just like this person. How Let's talk about this type of thinking. But what happens, women will be driven by their own experiences. They'll be driven by what they went through, their hurt and pain, and they're thinking with their pain, and they're thinking with their emotions. So they're not able to look at the situation and say, okay, this doesn't make any sense. I know this person's saying this, but at the same time, you may see something that's obviously not true. You can't ignore those things, or you can, but you can't say, I'm a feminist when it's convenient for me, and then I'm going to go and use the waterworks, and I'm going to play the vulnerable female role. So when I'm standing in the court of law, I'm going to say I was beaten. I was going to say that he threatened me. Why? Now, in cases where the man has done this, of course, but there's a lot of women who pull that role because they know they're going to garner sympathy. They're going to garner sympathy just by saying that. It's assumed that as a woman, you're the weaker one. Oh, but when I want to play tough, I'm going to stand against that and say, don't you open doors for me. Don't you do this. But if I've done something wrong, I'm going to remind the world that I'm the tender one and he's the strong one. And I'm going to think of things that's going to trigger society and trigger other women by talking about abuse, by talking about whatever form of abuse has happened, and how strong this person is, and how hard it was, and I was helpless. You have women that are straight banshees from hell. They're wicked and they're evil, and they get out in public and put on that little face, and at home, the claws come out, they're hitting that man, they're beating that man. Oh, I don't believe it. How could a woman overpower a man? Because that man is not hitting her back. They allow it. A man who is gentle, a man who does not believe in women, will take a good beating because he does not believe. His convictions is of such. He'd rather be beaten, he'd rather be bruised, he'd rather be scratched than to put his hand on her. So she freely abuses him because he doesn't hit her. Because it honestly will take one good hit, not even a good one hit from a man. And if he's trying to protect himself, and if he puts his hands up, the woman will go around that. There's some women that will do this. And so he is in a position now to think of what to do. He's still trying to protect this woman, while trying to shield himself. So he'll take that brunt. But can she do that? Could he turn around and just wail on her and really engage his strength as a man and begin to just punch her and hit her and scratch her? Would she be able to endure that? Probably not. And truly what happens, sometimes the man just holds a woman's hand just to stop her, and she goes into fifth gear. She goes into the thing of screaming and wailing because he touched her. He had to hold her hands to stop her. But maybe she's fair-skinned. Maybe she bruises easily. So now she calls the police. Because why? She's angry, and now she's going to get him because she's going to use that femininity to manipulate now. Oh, I'm going to scream and cry on the phone, and they're going to believe me because I'm a woman. That's the hypocrisy that I cannot stand. The other hypocrisy, women like myself who reason and think, these types of women will attack us. Oh, I thought it was freedom for everyone. Okay, as long as I agree with you, then I have rights. Do you see that? What does the Bible say about a person that's double-minded? A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And they're not talking about a male. When the Bible talks about men, in most cases, they're talking about both man and woman. There's a few exceptions where it's clear he's speaking about a man. Okay? The male. So that's the issue that I have with this behavior. Like sometimes I'm a feminist and I'm strong, and other times I'm going to put that to the side and I'm going to turn on the tears. I'm not moved by women crying. Okay? It depends. Now, if I could see a woman is suffering, I'm going to hold my fellow sister and just comfort her. I know the difference. I've seen someone walking around in tears, lost, crying. I've seen someone that lost a child, lost, crying. You don't have to judge that. But when it comes to answering questions when it comes to accountability, when it comes to someone being on the stand for doing wrong, when a woman is in a position where there's a serious situation that has happened between her and whoever, she's going to turn on the waterworks, and you have to be able to see through that. Do you ever notice that if the offense is between another female, that woman's not going to put on any waterworks and start to cry? But a lot of women does that when she's being questioned about whether or not she's done something in terms of with a man. Because there's a thing, if she starts to cry, everyone's going to sympathize with her, and they're going to look at him like, look at you, you made her cry. We need to stop it. The reason why the tears work is because you're not equal. You're not the same as guys. In the society, it is not the same. A woman will be, in many Western civilizations, she's going to be sympathized with more than that man. And so there are women that will play that game when it's convenient. And so I would always tell people to study feminism. Study that. It is, a lot of women just always think it's just about equal rights. Well, equal in what sense? I think you should be able to get certain jobs, get jobs, whatever. If you're hired, just like this guy who's hired, then you're just as capable or more capable. He shouldn't be promoted before you just because he's a guy, just because he goes out and hang out with the fellas. You shouldn't be denied promotion and opportunities because you would not send a dirty text or engage in an inappropriate conversation. You should not have to go to work and have someone that's treating you differently, because it's not always sexual. They're giving you more work than the other person, and they're not listening to your input. but yet they listen to their male counterparts. That's wrong. Okay? You shouldn't have to be staying back from work. Your boss want to sit and talk with you, but he's not doing that with any of the guys, making you stay back to have conversations with them. You shouldn't be having that. I get that. But to me, being feminine is not only understanding your strengths and understanding what your capabilities, it's also having a keen understanding of your differences. Because then you want to be the man. You want to overpower the man. And what that really does, it causes the man to shrink down. He has to shrink down. He has to be embarrassed for being a man. He has to be embarrassed for being strong. He has to think if he can say anything to you about anything, because he doesn't want to come off as a misogynist. And truly what a lot of women do, they like to wear this victimhood, and I'm strong, but at the same time, I'll weaponize my femininity to get my way. And it's something to bring intimidation to men. And men have a role in our society. So if we continue to emasculate them, and if we're continuing to make them uncertain if they should say anything, okay, then when something happens, I don't see you going to be the one as a woman that's going to run in front of him to protect him. At the same time, you're going to want this man to protect you when things really get heated around here, but then he won't know if he should move because you didn't really tell him he could move when he thought he could, but he's so used to shrinking back. And that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to be raising boys and men that's going to be thinking, oh, they get shy and jelly back. And that is not how we were created in the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. He created man. He created woman. And he said to them that he's given them dominion and power together. And there's nothing wrong with being protected. You can go out there trying to be the ultimate feminine thundercat if you want to. But there are others of us who understand the role of men and our role as well. And it's not domesticated roles. It's not what society has made it out to be. They make it seem as if it's a shame for you to take care of your children, but isn't it more of a shame? How do you feel constantly leaving your children alone because you have to work, or constantly picking up your children at the very last minute in daycare center and constantly leaving them in somebody else's care? But a mother who's able to be home with her children or chooses that role, chooses to cook for her husband, she's supposed to be ashamed of that?
Just to be clear, I'm in no way putting down women who work and have to take their children to childcare, because I, being retired military and once active duty, I had to take my children to daycare centers, and so I can relate with that. Why I'm mentioning this is that why should women who are homemakers and stay at home and stay with their families, take care of their husbands and the household, be made to feel that they're ashamed, when in fact when you're working there's so much guilt associated with having to picking them up late, not having enough time in your evening to spend to have quality time with your children, not being able to take off when they're sick, having to send them to school sick because you don't have the time. So there should never be an argument.
She's made to feel as if she has no existence. Your role can be a homemaker. You could be in the business world. You could do what you want. You could be someone that's going out there and doing missions, but there's no shame. The shame in feminism, being a feminist, is making women who chooses to make meals for their husband, making them feel like they're wrong for that. Women who chooses to get out the workforce to care for their kids, you make them feel as if something's wrong with that. Raising their sons, raising their boys. You want to get involved in the roles of their children. But the thing is, it's that's not your business. That's not your place. And so Adam and Eve, they understood they had dominion and power. But Adam protected Eve. That was his role. He's going to do that. Okay? He trusted Eve. And so he followed something that she said, this is a good idea. But men, they're given the strength for different reasons. And one of the main things is to protect. And once you begin to take that away from them, you're going to run into problems. And that's not something that I'm embracing. I don't raise my son to think he's less than my daughter. I don't raise my daughter to think she's less than my sons, to think that they're less than my daughter. And I don't raise my daughter to think she's less than my sons or that she is greater than. I also don't raise her to think that she is stronger or better than them. That's division. And if it's the men against the girls, what's going to happen is you're going to find yourself not being able to, you're going to create a great imbalance in our society. A deep-seated resentment. Because at the end of the day, women are still getting their cake and getting to eat it too. Many feminists are doing that. They can say whatever they want to say to men in however manner, but if the man says something directly in the same tone that she has said it, with the same level of being just as crass, she's going to become a weepy willow, or she's going to become, the feminist thundercat to the third power, getting super mad, calling up her girls. They're all going to come running through, all upset, and then creating a situation. And that is manipulation. If you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. If you don't want your bangs to get wet, don't come up in here. If you can speak to a man and say something that could be considered sexist, even racist, but he can't say it back to you, what are you doing here? Wait a minute. So you can insult him. You can jump and splash him with insults, but when it comes to you, he's got to put his jacket over the puddle so you can walk by. It doesn't work that way. So I would tell anybody to not just, because women, you're just thinking, a lot of women go, I'm a feminist and I'm this and I'm a feminist and I believe in this, because you're thinking about the basic things of basic rights, right? For women to be treated well and all this good stuff. But what feminism is and what feminist is very different. It's about changing the whole family structure, culture, really making the role of men insignificant, and we have no right to do that. You can't ask for equal rights, but now what it means is you want the same equality to be able to abuse men the way some men abused women. You want to now have the ability to stomp on men and take out their rights, and you want to create a glass ceiling for men, and you want them to be silent, and you want them to just take your abuse. So in other words, you didn't want rights, you just wanted to reverse the roles. It doesn't make it right. Oh, it's different because you're a woman. We can't play these games. And that's the stuff that irritates me. To me, as a woman, it's ridiculous. And it creates a resentment in general to women. I saw something. This woman was talking about this guy that came up towards her, and he was behaving inappropriately, saying things inappropriately, and she basically had to just raise her voice, and he had to back up. And so people were talking about different things. They were talking about how she was dressed, because I don't know what she had on, but it was just like the front was kind of open, and there was just breast and things out, just enough material to cover her nipples and stuff. And people were saying, I get this guy wasn't right. I'm not condoning his behavior. But, you're kind of putting yourself out there. And so one of the things people were saying was, and what I've seen even some feminists and individuals are saying, I can dress how I want to dress. And how I dress does not mean yes, okay? And so this woman, there's people that were saying this, hey, just because she's dressed that way does not mean he has a right to come on to her like that. I agree. But here's another objective. We can't put it in the hands of strangers and men to do the right thing by us. A part of being a woman is being accountable and protecting yourself and your space, because you don't sleep with your doors open at night. You don't leave your windows wide open and go to sleep trusting that a burglar will not come in. Depending on where you are in the world and what town you live in, for the most part, unless you're living in a nice happy town where nothing really happens and these places exist, you have to lock your doors. You don't leave your doors unlocked. You don't leave your windows down and leave your purse on the front seat, because you're trusting that the people in society will do the right things. So why would you do that with your body? What women don't understand, there are plenty of beautiful, gorgeous pieces, beautiful, classy, even edgy, nice clothing that you can wear where I don't see that you've got a mole on your breast, on the top of your breast, on your cleavage. So women wants to say, it's my right to dress how I dress, and you're putting it in, you're making it another man's responsibility to do right. And to me, that's too risky. Because of the same thing of not locking your door and saying, I'm believing and I expect that people in this area and in this neighborhood and in society and mankind will not try to turn my lock and open my door and come in. So I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to take a shower, go to sleep, and I'm going to leave my doors unlocked because they should do the right thing. Ironically, you won't do that. Ironically, you're not going to leave your bank card out on display and say, I'm going to trust them, or I'm going to put my PIN number in because I trust that they're going to do the right thing. So why are we doing that with our bodies? You expect a total strangers on the street. You expect them, or you're giving them the authority. Is it authority? Or you're going to invest that much trust and that much expectation in them to do the right thing. So if I come out and I have on some short shorts that cuts all the way up the top of my thighs and cuts all the way up in my butt and between it and all of this, and my thighs are just out and juicy and oily, and I'm walking around with a crop top, you're putting it in somebody else's court to carry themselves as gentlemen and as citizens, with all the mass murderers, killers, people who has all types of issues in the mind, people who don't care. So you'll go out in this world, not in a controlled environment, but in a world where anybody can run into you. So you expect the kidnapper, the serial killer, the one who has always been wanting to do something evil and thinking about it, the person who's high on drugs, whatever, you're giving them that level of responsibility, accountability, and you're putting that much trust in them that they're going to do the right thing. So if I walk out butt naked, you should do the right thing. You've lost it if you expect that. You know there's no respect in our society like that. There's some people, but you're going to run into most people that thinks differently. It is up to us as women to protect ourselves. Now, not just through martial arts, if you can do that. Some people, hey, you got a piece. You have conceal and carry. Okay? There's some people, they push it. They don't gonna get flat back. Gonna get that boom, that peel back boom. Okay? However, not necessarily just in weaponry for some of you who have it, but you have to take care of yourself in what you put on. And understand that you cannot put that level of trust and accountability and responsibility in somebody else's court. It's up to you. No, when you dress a certain way, it does not mean yes. I completely get that. But to many, it does mean yes. And it's not going to matter what you say and what you are claiming. If that person get a hold of you and want to assault you and grab you, He would not have had a right to do that. He would have deserved to have the punishment that he does. But saying just because I dress like this is putting way too much trust in this dangerous, dark, and unpredictable world that we live in, with the people who are just looking for somebody to carry out these heinous acts. And let's use the feminism, the role. You said we're all created equal. Why is it his responsibility to do the right thing? Why would it be that man's responsibility to do the right thing? It's your responsibility. You're as equally as responsible to make sure that you protect yourself. And now the mind of people, feminists and individuals who believe this way, they'll argue that. They'll argue that to a nub because they're filled with debate. What is there to argue about? You're going outside with your breast showing. You're going outside with your butt out. You're going outside with most of your thighs dripping. Just dripping with lotions and oils. And then you're sitting, you're being extra. You're doing all these different things. When you are like that, the common sense can let you know you're going to draw attention. That's why you put it on. That's why these women put these outfits on. That's why you choose that little tight outfit versus something else. You want attention. You want to be adored, but you don't want to be touched. Granted. But when you go out there, you are responsible and you're held accountable for how you present yourself as well. You're just as equally, as you want equality, responsible for how you put yourself out there. And don't say your breast can be out and it's natural and your thighs out is normal and you can wear something all the way up your butt and it's not going to make a difference. Yes, it does. People are going to look at you, even women, it's going to do a double take and look at you when you're out with little shorts on, little whatever on, exposing, wearing outfits that shows parts of your body. Women are going to look. So how do you not expect a man to look? We can't argue these points just to be right. That is one of the characteristics that I spoke about in another video. Characteristic of many feminists, not all of them. They can never be wrong. They want to be wrong and strong. They'll argue the inequality and at the same time argue the double standards when they're doing it. And nothing you say, they're going to argue nakedness. They're going to argue why breasts can be out. They're going to argue why this is out. Then why don't you just shower in public then if it doesn't matter? If it doesn't matter, why don't you just go in and squat over the urinal with the guys? Why aren't you doing that? Can they come in your bathroom? If everything is equal, let them come on in there. Put some urinals in the women's bathrooms. No. You can't pick and choose. Nothing's wrong with it. Just start walking around naked. Let's see how that goes. But the point that I'm making is, saying the way I dress doesn't mean yes. Let's examine your intentions in the outfits you buy anyway. You're right. A woman could be wearing mom jeans and a JCPenney top, and somebody will still assault her. Elderly people are being assaulted. Children who are minding their business are being assaulted. Exactly. That's the point. There's people who are sick in the mind. There are people like that walking around. So it is our responsibility as women to safeguard ourselves in still looking nice, dressing nice, not because, I have to dress to keep men off, but it's being accountable and being responsible and having an awareness of the world. That a rapist will rape a nun. Old people are not off limits. They don't go to places looking for these people. They can encounter them in some way. So the same thing can happen in women. You're dressing this certain way, and then you're expecting that man to do the right thing. You're expecting a person you don't know to do right and to respect your body. When in reality, you value your car more than your body because you're going to lock it and safeguard it. You value your house more than your own body because you will not leave your door unlocked and let someone come in, trusting them to do what's right. You're not going to trust a person to do the right thing and not break into your car or not open your door and take your purse off the seat. You're not trusting anybody to come in and walk in your house by unlocking your doors, or you're not trusting anyone by even going into the bathroom stalls at work and leaving it unlocked. You lock it. So when it comes to dressing, don't you try to put that on the men and say, oh, they should behave and they should know better just because I'm dressed provocatively. Come on. That's on you as well. Not the assault. Not that they have a right to do that. But you're responsible for the way you look and the kind of attention that you are going to draw. Especially when you're wearing those little, threads and bits. Let's be real here. It is for attention. You're never just putting on these outfits to say, ooh, this is so cute. You are thinking of how you're going to look up in there. You're going to be the cutest one. You're thinking how the lady's going to be looking. You're thinking about how the guys are going to be looking. It's about attention. But the thing about attention is that it's not biased. It's not impartial. It does not discriminate. Attention, you're going to draw everybody to you. You're going to have desirable attention, and then you're going to get the ones that you don't want. Anyway, guys, this video was supposed to be short. My position on feminism, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in feminists, the feminist movement. I don't believe in it. I feel that if we're not careful and keeping a perfect balance, it can become very harmful. And men have purpose. They have rights just like we do, and they have a role, and we're not going to take them out of it because you want to get in it as a woman. And that's where I stand on it. So I don't knock people for it, but I'm like, my issue with it is like, look, don't try to, it's just y'all getting too loud. Stop bringing that stuff in my space. I don't believe in that. And if I don't believe in it, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. If you're about rights, respect mine. I don't believe in what you're saying. I don't have to follow everything you're doing. Some aspects of feminism, I get it. But big chunks of it, if you sit down and you study it, you're going to see that feminism is not just about equal rights. So this is my take on it. This is my position on it. And hopefully that can be, what's the word? Understood. All right, guys. Peace out.